So look, you've probably seen tons of videos telling you how to improve your Cyberpunk, combat overhauls, visual overhauls, but I know my audience and I know what you really want. So today I'll be showing you the perfect romance overhaul for this game, giving you a far greater degree of depth with your existing romance options, like hey, have you ever wanted a companion in Night City? Or even just some completely new romance partners that you didn't have access to before. But we need to ease into these relationships, so first up is Dance Off. This will give you the option to go to many of the bars and clubs in Night City and actually dance with other NPCs you've developed a relationship with. To do this, you must have progressed your relationship with that NPC past a certain point, and Phantom Liberty is even accounted for with this. So you can go to clubs in Dogtown and dance with, let's say, So Me, or you can just stick to the familiar clubs in Night City and actually socialize with Judy or Panam. It really makes developing these relationships feel a lot more real, like you're doing things and getting to know these characters. But if you do need a little bit of liquid courage, we also have Night City interactions. This will add in the ability to grab a drink with a bunch of the characters in Cyberpunk. So all over Night City, you could stop at the different bars to catch up with your favorite character. And this one's pretty cool because there are some dialogue options pertaining to whatever major quests you did with that character, and talking a bit about the aftermath of what happened. The dialogue used fits perfectly here. It genuinely feels like you're catching up with a friend after having some kind of wild experience together, reminiscing about what happened. Or alternatively, just grabbing a drink with somebody you're pursuing. And some of the more recent updates to this mod, it even added in some of the Edge Runners locations where you can stop where the characters did in the anime. And these two mods definitely help with the platonic stage of the romances in Night City, but how about some proper flirting? What I've found to be the single best mod for increasing the depth of your romances in Cyberpunk 2077 is the mod Judy Romance Messages Extended, and don't worry, there is a sister mod for Panam. This mod will overhaul the texts you and Judy send to each other in two major ways. It'll not only edit some of the existing text chains to have a bit more oomph behind them, but it'll also add in some completely new messages, and actually quite a few totally new messages between you and Judy. And this mod kicks in right away. The very first text you and Judy have together will be completely new. It's one of the new text chains added from this mod, and this time around, it's going to talk more about the experience you two just had with Evelyn. This will come up right after that quest where you and Judy save Evelyn, and you'll be able to go more in depth, asking Judy about how Evelyn is feeling right now while she still is alive. And Judy starts flirting with V right off the bat in this one, but it's a bit more subtle. This mod does a good job at adding more steps to see the relationship between V and Judy really evolve over time. And this mod also adds in the really cool new feature of life path dependent text responses. So now, if you're a corpo, you'll have a variety of unique messages you could send when messaging Judy that reference your corpo background, or allow you to give a more business explanation for things, when even later on, you could use this option to explain your relationship dynamic, why you're acting a certain way, basically because you were a corpo. But some of the text edits from this mod are also really nice. Over the course of Judy's questline, and after you do have that big romance moment, follow-up text will now feel like you're actually in a relationship with her. Judy will sometimes reference things you've done together, like attending a party at her apartment with some of the Mox members. And especially towards the end of the vanilla text, when you and Judy are meant to have the deepest connection, Judy will start referring to you as Valerie instead of V, which has a real impact. It's just a quick and easy way to reflect the depth of the relationship, to really show how well Judy knows you now. And yeah, if you didn't know, V's real name in Cyberpunk 2077 is either Valerie or Vincent. But once the vanilla texts end, things really do kick into high gear from this mod, as the flirting and even some of the digital gestures of romance will fully take hold. You'll of course get the occasional horny text, and sometimes this will even be a new level, as now, also like Panam, Judy will send you not one, but several adult pictures if you progress far enough into her romance tree. I'm not going to spoil these, and I also don't want this video to get demonetized, but hey, they're there, and there's clearly quite a bit of effort put into these pictures. And overall, this mod does a really great job at actually simulating the experience of developing a relationship with someone. You're going to talk about things you just did, like after a notable quest, you'll be able to text Judy about it, and it definitely allows you to be more raunchy over text with your partner, while also incorporating friends, as Rita Wheeler will text you from time to time as she notices the spark between you and Judy developing. And the perfect mod to add onto this one is Judy Romance Enhanced. Have you ever found it annoying how after romancing another character in Night City, they would just kind of stand in their apartment and say hi to you, but otherwise there really weren't any further interactions? It was like you romanced and then you're done. Well, this mod will change that. Now after romancing Judy, when you return to her apartment, she will actually do things and you can actually interact with her. She might be standing in the kitchen instead of at the window, and there'll be new interaction options like chatting with her or even just hugging her or kissing her. And if you're role-playing, all of these choices choices will obviously go a very long way, but even further, Judy will actually live her life. You can come over to find Judy in the shower, and then once that's finished, she'll actually start getting ready for the day. She might be standing in the kitchen eating, and you could just exchange a few words. Or if it's late when you go over, she might be sleeping. And this mod does a great job at making this NPC actually feel at least somewhat alive. But if you do want to really take the relationship to the next level, you could make that big step with having Judy move in with you, at least temporarily. I really want to stay at your house. We'll add a new mechanic where Judy will text you asking to stay over at your apartment for a few nights. And you could even pick which of your apartments in Night City that she'll stay at. But then at various times of day, you'll find Judy hanging out at your place. And this too is pretty simple. You'll be able to find her doing things like standing around or even showering with those same interaction options. But this mod does make it feel like your relationship's actually taking that big step forward. On the initial stay, Judy will stick around for just a couple of days and then leave. But a few days later, she'll text you again, asking once again to stay over. And you could just tell Judy she could come over whenever she wants. So then just from time to time, Judy will be hanging out at your apartment, basically how it works in real life. And a couple of great mods to add on top of all of that are some of the newer quest mods for the game. Hot Fuzz will be a must download for some of you. This will implement a new quest to the end of the Judy romance tree, where after impressing her grandma, you'll have a secondary romance opportunity with Judy at the No-Tell Motel. And this will even involve that Max Tack outfit found in her apartment. But if you're looking for a more meaningful connection, Californication will give you another short quest where you and Judy meet up at the dam and just watch the sunset. Then have a bit of a sleepover, although this one isn't acted out. Both of these quests are super simple, but I think they go a really long way into making your interactions with this character feel more real and alive. But okay, I know some of you are screaming at your screen right now, what about Panam? Well, if you thought any of those mods I just talked about for Judy sound cool, don't worry, because they're also available for Panam. Panam Romance Messages Enhanced is that sister mod I mentioned earlier, and just like Judy's mod, this will both add in new text as well as edit some of the old text chains to have a bit more impact. So for example, after you have that first romance moment with Panam, the follow-up text back and forth will go far more in depth now. Things in vanilla Cyberpunk are a bit brief considering the moment the two of you just shared, but now you'll dive a bit deeper into that idea of leaving Night City with Panam, and this mod will also include an optional overhaul for that lewd picture Panam sends you. Still a lewd, but definitely better. But there are also totally new text chains, some more around romance, but also more meaningful ones. Like if you do the optional Mitch funeral quest, Panam will actually thank you after the fact, and you have a deep conversation about Mitch's send-off and what that really means for both of you. Panam Romance Enhanced will give you a ton of additional interactions with Panam at the Nomad camp. You'll find her hanging out doing various things, and you'll have new options to hug and kiss her. But this mod was also updated with Phantom Liberty in mind, so you'll be able to talk to Panam about joining the FIA during Phantom Liberty, or even working with the president, which is a really nice touch here. Feels like you're actually able to tell your partner about what you've been doing lately. And if you want Panam to stay over at your apartment, that too is an option, and this one actually makes a bit more sense. Panam will text you saying that she can't deal with Saul at the Nomad camp anymore, and if she could bunk with you for a few days. Another one that honestly makes a lot of sense is Panam's own quest mod with Encore. Your initial and only vanilla romance option with Panam is in the tank, and it's literally interrupted. So here she'll text you again asking if you want to have a more proper ending to that romance, and not in the typical place. Instead, the two of you are going to meet up at a nearby location that Panam knows, and you'll have a second romance opportunity with her. And the quest even ends quite nicely with the two of you getting a bite to eat. But okay, I hear you. Many of you are probably watching right now and frustrated with all of the woman romance options, so don't fret, as River Romance Enhanced is also out there, and this will implement all of that same functionality for this character as well, so you can meet up with River at his place and find him doing miscellaneous activities. But now you might have a new problem. Thanks to this phenomenal mod list I just showed you, you develop too close of an attachment with your partner and just can't bear to leave them. Well, then you need the brand new mod Companions of Night City. This will allow you to take a variety of the NPCs in Night City along with you adventuring. Simply walk up to a qualifying NPC and both Judy and Panam do work, and you could ask them to join you. And then they'll do all of the things, drive around with you, support you in combat, and honestly it's just a cool but simple mod. Functionally, it's super simple. You really just have this other person walking around with you and kind of following you wherever you go. But at the same time, Night City can get lonely, and having somebody by your side does have a really nice impact from time to time. But maybe all of that just sounds bad. You've been through all Night City has to offer and you want something fresh. Well, if that's the case, then Rita Wheeler Romance may be the mod for you. This will give you the opportunity to romance Rita Wheeler, the bouncer at the Mox Club. And I really like how this one's implemented. The hookup will only become available after you visit the club a few times. And those times you do visit, there'll be a few brief interactions with Rita where you can just be nice to her or ask what's going on. And evidently that's all it really takes, as a short while later she'll text you offering a special visit with her and opening up her as a new romance option. And if you are using the Judy Romance Messages Extended mod with this one, it may feel a bit dirty. Rita is a close friend of Judy, especially with that mod installed. Judy will text you about Rita, and Rita herself will even text you several times talking about Judy. So then romancing Rita after all of that is definitely a bit of an odd way to spice up that relationship, but perhaps your desires are a bit more unique. Well, if that's the case, Flaming Crotch Man Romanced is the perfect mod for some of you. In Cyberpunk 2077, there's a gig called Burning Desire, where you must bring a man who heavily damaged his crotch area to a local clinic. And if you have this mod installed, a few short days after that gig is completed, the Flaming Crotch Man will text you letting you know he received some big upgrades at the clinic and giving you the opportunity to test them out for yourself. Definitely the most unique mod you'll find in this video, but one alternative that you could add in to switch things up is the Phone Messages Overhaul. I covered this one earlier this year, and what it'll do is overhaul the texts you have with a variety of characters in Cyberpunk. This includes Judy and Panam, which makes it incompatible with the two other text mods I showed you earlier in this video, but Phone Messages Overhaul takes things a bit further. It'll also overhaul the messages you could have with both Jackie and River, and it even adds in a totally new romance option with Bugbear, another NPC that has a one-off gig in Night City that you can now get a deeper connection with. So now, I do know many of you are wanting some more Phantom Liberty specific romance options, especially with the characters you meet in Phantom Liberty, but sadly those mods aren't here, at least not yet, because I do have some good news on this front. Deceptius, who made most of the mods I featured in this video, is also working on an Aurora romance mod. And later this week, I'll not only look a bit deeper into that one, but have a video in general looking at some of the epic upcoming mods on their way to Cyberpunk, so get subscribed for that content. Otherwise, check out this video where I look at some of the best new mods you could download to Cyberpunk 2077 right now.
Split lightning somehow. Like a